team we have on the docket here is the Atlanta Falcons, 8-9, seventh straight year of no playoffs. Two things, and then I'll let you do what you got to do. I am absolutely tired of every single year the sports books, the podcasts, everybody saying that the Indianapolis Colts are the favorites to win this division when they haven't made the playoffs in 7 straight years. This team should be, odds wise, in my personal opinion, probably a little bit closer to the Carolina Panthers than at the top of the board. That's just what I think. I think that they're closer to the Panthers than they are the Buccaneers. The next thing, the quarterback situation. Very big all-time fumble by the GM. 8th pick spent on Michael Penix after paying Kirk Cousins 4-year, $180 million. Now, the Falcons have a strong stance that they're not getting rid of Kirk Cousins and they're going to keep him for the time being. But my question for you is for what? In 2025, the cap hit would be $40 million. 2026, 57.5. 2027, 57.5. If they get out after this year in 2026, when he can get out, they will have a $45 million dead cap hit. So why not now? When you have Penix, you decided to bench Kirk Cousins. Why would you have a strong stance to keep Kirk Cousins? Why not even try? If you're just going to cut him anyway after the season, take on that $45 million dead cap hit, why not even take a 7th round pick for him or try to get something for him at this point? I don't understand what Terry's doing, the GM. I think he's terrible at his job. And I think where do you stand on all of this, the quarterback situation in Atlanta?
I think they're doing the right thing holding on to him for right now, because I think their thought, and I would think this as well, is you trade him right now and you get a 7th round pick. But say you trade him right before the deadline to a team that has had a pretty good season to start and their quarterback goes down. They don't really love who they have at backup. They'll take a flyer on Kirk Cousins.
What if that doesn't happen?
Well, that's a possibility too, but I think that's their reasoning for keeping him, is they think that somebody will get desperate and somebody could get hurt throughout the season, a team that's been playing well and needs a quarterback that doesn't love their backup. If the phone rings in Atlanta, hey, what do you want for Kirk Cousins? That 7th round pick looks like maybe a 4th round pick now to a team that is desperate.
What happens if that none of that happens?
Then they're screwed.
Nobody calls for Kirk Cousins.
Then they're screwed.
Then they're stuck holding the bag, looking like an idiot. So that's why
you're right. But quarterbacks do get hurt every year.
I'm just saying, like, right now, why not just be like, well, screw it. Like, let's just, Pittsburgh needs a quarterback. Like, do you guys take Kirk Cousins? Brown. The Browns. You guys need a quarterback.
Yeah.
Take Kirk Cousins. Shit. Call the Colts. The Colts are the worst organization ever. Call the Colts. Call Chris Ballard on the phone. Hey, we have Kirk Cousins.
He's not an athletic freak, though.
It doesn't matter. He loves old whitewash quarterbacks.
He does.
Phillip Rivers and Carson Wentz, the whole 9.
Matt Ryan.
I think that at some point, like, does it make sense for the Falcons to have a $40 million backup quarterback?
As of today, no. But I think they're likely banking on somebody down the road getting injured and a team reaching out to them. And Kirk Cousins looks a whole lot better than whatever option they currently had. Otherwise, if none of that happens, then absolutely they're screwed.
I think no matter what, they tanked his stock. I don't think that they're going to get that big of a return on him regardless.
He looked horrible.
I think now or the season, I think it's a 5th or a 6th round pick that gets the deal done. I do. No matter what stake is on the line. Like, whether you're a team that your quarterback gets hurt halfway through the season or right now, I think it's a 5th or 6th round pick that gets this over the line. I don't think he fetches a 4th, because you're going to be sitting there looking at somebody asking them to take on a very large contract for a washed up white quarterback. I don't know why I called him white.
Well, he's not white.
I don't know why I just threw that in that he was a white guy, but whatever. Go ahead.
No, I mean, yeah, I think that if none of this plays out how I've been saying, they're sitting in a very bad situation, paying an awful lot of money to a guy that is sitting on the bench, um, and that's never a good sign. But with the way that history goes, quarterbacks in the NFL always end up getting hurt, and somebody might come calling, and I think they're just banking on that. And that's likely what you do when you're not a great GM is you bank on an injury, but it could play out in their favor. Who knows? But that's why I think they're holding on to him, because I think that they think somebody's going to get hurt and somebody's going to offer more than what he would go for right now.
They're dumb.
Because what's his real value right now?
A 5th or a 6th round pick. I think that's what he's worth.
I think his real value right now is like $3.
Well, no, like, what do you think he fetches in the trade?
I think he legitimately gets like a 7th round pick right now, and
I think
that's about it.
I think a quarterback, like a quarterback needy team, like you can get a 5th probably. Why not?
But at the same time, if you're the Steelers or you're one of these teams, like, is Kirk? I'm also talking myself out of this now. Is Kirk Cousins better than Mason Rudolph right now?
I don't. Probably not. No, that's what I'm saying.
And that was what I said. Was like I'm talking myself out of it right now.
They plummeted Kirk Cousins stock. The last version of Kirk
really
Cousins
bad
that we see looked bad, and they benched him for a rookie who. That's another question I have for you: is how good is Penix? I don't think Penix is very good. I just don't.
Yeah, I'm not really sold on him either. We've only seen 4 games.
I hate to be this guy.
But
like how many successful left-handed quarterbacks are there in the NFL? History.
NFL history. 1.
Who?
Steve Young, wasn't he lefty?
Maybe. Did he win a lot of games or something? Did he win a Super Bowl?
He's pretty good.
Hold on. Wait, hold on. Let's ask this. Hold on. Let me pull up ChatGPT here. Let's do this with ChatGPT real quick as an exercise. How many left-handed quarterbacks have won a Super Bowl?
Michael Vick was pretty good. He never won a Super Bowl,
he
but he was good.
Game. He won one playoff game his entire career.
I still think that he is a better quarterback than Kirk.
No, you think of him as in your mind, you are thinking of him as better than what he was because he was cool on video games.
No doubt, but you asked me how many good lefty quarterbacks there were. There's not really many lefty quarterbacks to pick from.
Timeout. There are 2 in NFL history who are left-handed quarterbacks. 1, Steve Young.
Yes.
In 1994. The next, Kenny Stabler in 1976.
To win a Super Bowl.
We are
Was that to win a Super Bowl?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, but also there's not many lefties in the NFL left-handed quarterbacks to begin with. But I think Mike Vick was a good
1994, we weren't even born yet. And that was the last time a left-handed quarterback won a Super Bowl. So it's a dumb argument. I get it. But like, if we're just going off history, Michael Penix is not the guy to get you over the hump.
The deck is stacked against him.
Something to think about.
The current lefty in the NFL isn't even great.
Who's that?
Tua?
He stinks.
That's what I just said.
I know, but I'm just harping on the point that he stinks. Like, he's bad. He's awful. He is, I mean, watch the Dolphins. That's coming out tomorrow. Watch the Dolphins video tomorrow. Okay. One bright side that we can give to this football team, I will say, is they do have 2. Kyle Pitts is a garbage can, so I'm not putting him in their special young talent anymore. He stinks. They have Bijan Robinson, who I think was a can't miss prospect coming out, and I think that he is a severely underrated running back right now in the NFL because Jahmyr Gibbs is a little bit more shifty, and people like Jahmyr Gibbs a lot. But
and the Lions won football games.
yeah, and the Lions won football games, but Bijan Robinson is as advertised, and he's the real deal.
They also
And
need to figure out the way to just give him the ball, because Tyler Algier would just go half the game, like taking half the plays,
he gets way too much burn, honestly.
which is crazy.
And the next player who I think took a very meaningful step last season was Drake London. I think both of those guys are legit. I think they're legit.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like both of those guys a lot. I think it's fair to be fully out on Kyle Pitts. We've seen him in the NFL for 4 years, and it's just been, this is the year, this is the year, this is the year, and it has not been the year.
He's trash.
He was the second coming and of Darren Waller, apparently at tight end, and
he stinks.
Even Darren Waller wasn't great, but Darren Waller was a wide receiver playing tight end, basically, is what people thought Kyle Pitts would be.
He was on crack.
He was. But no, I agree with you. I think those two guys are very, very important pieces of this offense. They should give Bijan Robinson the football more. Sneaky decent season was Darnell Mooney at their wide receiver too. I will say that.
He blew up at the beginning of the season and then kind of tailed off at the end. But yeah, he did play very well. And I liked him in Chicago. He had that 1,000-yard season in Chicago. I was like, he's a pretty good player.
Yeah, I like him as a wide receiver too for this team. It's just, what are you going to get from Penix at this point?
Yeah. So this offseason, they haven't really done anything major. They just pretty much got Lenny Floyd, who at this point in his career,
they added some older kind of guys towards the back end of their career is what it felt like.
Yeah.
They signed, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. No, that was the last team. Sorry, that was the Colts. But yeah, I have the list here. None of these are insane. They did extend Jake Matthews to a 2-year, $45 million extension. Signed 1-year deal, re-signed Leonard Floyd, Contavious Street, Morgan Fox, Divine Diablo, kind of a fire name. Mike Hughes, Jordan Fuller, and Liam McCullough. Liam McCullough signed a 4-year extension, but he's literally the long snapper. So
why did I literally see none of those deals? So I don't know. I was going through that, missed those. So hey, that one's on me, boss.
It's all right. That's what we're here for. Also, how many different people need to report a deal? Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people.
This was my argument. This was my argument the one day to Brady when Brady was trying to say that breaking news was a hard job. I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah. So all of these are directly off of NFL.com, and it's an updated tracker with who each team is signing up to date. And this says Mike Fox signed a 2-year deal worth more than $8.5 million worth incentives. Mike Garofalo, Tim Pelissero, Ian Rappaport, and Peter Schrager all reported the deal.
That I think it's time.
That's crazy.
I do. I'm being serious. I think it's time. Whatever that job is, whatever that means and what it is, it's time to go. It makes no sense.
We can sit here and say that Schefter and Rappaport are probably the two guys for the NFL, but everybody else, it almost just feels is repurposing that information.
What would make the job cool is if there were tea leaves for weeks or something leading up to it, and Schrager or somebody had a story that was on the cutting edge. It's never that. It's when it's announced is when they can talk about things. So what's the point of having that job?
Yeah. We don't need 4 people repeating the same exact information.
I'm sorry, I hate that job, but that's maybe for another day. So now for the NFL draft. Sorry, they're at pick 15. I think really their biggest weaknesses right now are the defense, and I think that it's probably the secondary and edge rushers. From the 2021-2022 season, they had 37 sacks, lowest in the NFL. I think adding Raheem Morris, a defensive minded head coach, they started off hot this year. They had 10 sacks like in the first 11 games, looked real decent, but I think a lot of the problems that stem in the secondary also stems from them not getting enough pressure on the quarterback, because I look at like a Jesse Bates and I look at an AJ Terrell, and I think that those are two guys in a secondary who are pretty decent. And I think that they can hold their own, and they're probably the top at their position. Right now, then I would say at 15, they would get an edge rusher. And we have a whole list of edge rushers at this point. We have Shamar Stewart. We have James Pierce Jr. We have Nick Scrontron. I don't know how to say his last name. And then we have Michael Williams, who is technically still on the board based off of the conversations that we had so far. So I'm just
going to Mike Green on the list too.
Mike Green, of course, my guy. I think that they probably will go keep the guy in Georgia and get Michael Williams and get a good edge rusher out of Georgia. I mean, you can never go wrong with a Georgia defender, it feels like.
Yeah, I wasn't sure where we were at with who we thought everybody was going to go with. And for that reason, I didn't have Michael, but I did have Mike Green on here as an edge. And then the other guy I had to keep an eye out on was, I know that you said this the other day, that Will Johnson didn't have a great physical, and I could see Will Johnson going to Atlanta.
Yeah, there's been, I don't know if it's been like reported or not or anything, but he has like soft bones or like low bone density, which means that he has a propensity for like soft tissue injuries. So
okay,
something to keep an eye out for. I mean, when a team hears that, my first instinct when hearing that is I think that he starts to fall down boards. I think Correct. Will Johnson, after hearing some of that stuff, that he will fall down boards. My question is, and was to the person who told me the information, was, is it too late for him to start drinking milk? And his response was, yes, it's too late.
It's too late.
Yeah.
Consuming milk feels like a thing that's never too late.
His bones are apparently fucked. So that's hey, don't shoot the bones. Don't shoot the messenger. But that's what I'm hearing on my end.
Well, that sucks, because that's a guy that could be a top 10 pick had he didn't have paper mache's bones. And
you would think.
Well, I could see somebody taking a shot on him. But I do think 100%. That the Falcons go defense here, and I think edge is likely the pick. It's just whoever the best edge rusher is on the board at this point. I think that's who they go with. You laid it out pretty well. Didn't really generate a ton of pressure last year. I feel like their defensive line's like kind of old in the middle at least. But either way, you got to be able to generate pressure. You got to be able to get sacks. It just helps every other level of your defense. And AJ Terrell and Jesse Bates are like too good of a secondary player to be disrespected. So I think they definitely need to ramp up the pass rush here in Atlanta.
100%. Yeah, let's do you have anything else you want to add about the Atlanta Falcons, or are you good to go on that?
No, I'll save the rest of my thoughts for when we do like the season preview for them. White clouds blowing out when we max.